If you got a robot vacuum, you know how difficult it is for them to avoid things like pet waste, but especially cords. It's a huge problem. So Narwal has been working on these problems, and their newest vacuum, the Freo Z Ultra, I think their solutions have really elevated them to the big leagues of robot vacuums. It comes in this silver and white, and also in black. It has 2 cameras, a dedicated AI chip, and the ability to not only dodge objects, but actually clean up really close to them. And it can not only identify the type of mess you have, but also figure out the best way to clean it. So Narwal is the sponsor of today's video, so that means I'm going to do some real-world testing, show you what you need to know so you can make your own decisions. Now, power cords are pretty difficult for a lot of robots. I put this cord along my wall, which is exactly the way you're going to find it in my house. And what's even more difficult is that this cord is white against a white baseboard. So it's actually doing a pretty good job of avoiding the white phone cable. This is like very, very good, even though it has the double obstacle of my cat trying to attack it. And looking at it here in the app, you can see it actually identified the cable at 3 different points. Let's make the task a little bit more difficult. First, you can see it has identified the USB part of the cord, and now it is actually going along the cord. And it's getting really close. That is something that other robot vacuums just don't do a good job of. Okay, the mess is on this side. Let's see how well it does. This is really good. A lot of vacuums would have trouble with this. How does it do this? It's got 2 RGB cameras instead of most robot vacuums which have just 1. Also, both of these cameras are high definition. They're 1600 by 1200. Most robot cameras have about 480 pixels, so this is 4 times the resolution. Next, it's able to see objects at the millimeter level instead of the centimeter level. And because it has 2 cameras, it's able to see objects in stereo vision, so it can see depth and it can see color better to identify the objects. So that is a lot of talk about tech, but what does that actually mean in the real world? The Freo Z has a technology called Twin Dodge AI, and it can identify over 120 objects like socks, toys, plastic bags, and even fake pet poop. In our obstacle avoidance test, you can see it is successful at avoiding objects, but getting super close up to them. It's supposed to give fake pet poop a 70mm berth without actually touching it, and everything else is supposed to get up to about 1 centimeter, which is right up to it. The AI object recognition takes place on the robot itself, and you can see it identified the fake pet poop here. It does identify pets, and it also identifies pets that want to attack it and avoid them for self-preservation. My cat Saturn makes it very, very difficult because my cat Saturn is a trained robot assassin. Remember, cats rule the house, robots are second-class citizens, and humans were just like 3rd or something. At least that's what the robot told me. It does a really good job with table legs and getting close to the edges of them. We put some cat hair down here where it tends to collect, did some mopping and some vacuuming, and you can see the brush tends to get right up next to the legs, and so does the mop. The Freo Z Ultra is a mopping robot. Let's look at the bottom of it here. So we've got 2 spinning mop pads, but they're different. They're not round, but they're actually triangular. And so the idea is when they rotate, they have more contact area right in the middle, which should leave less streaks on your floor. They also pop in and out really easily. And these can adapt the pressure for different floor types to optimize the mopping. It's got a zero tangle brush roll, which is a very unique design compared to some other robots. You can see it's only connected on one side, it's floating. You pop it out, this is zero tangle, and so the idea is as this is spinning, it moves the hair along here and moves it into here and into the storage container. This has 12,000 pascals of suction, which is right at the upper end for any mopping robot. And then you've also got 2 side brushes here, which can function independently. These mop pads can lift up to 12mm on carpet, and this can increase or decrease suction automatically depending on what is found on your floor. This is the waste bin, and it's actually kind of clever. It comes in 2 parts. So this pops out. So you got a filter over here, and then this 2-piece dust bin, which right now is kind of full of cereal. Let's test the zero tangle roller. I've laid down some long hair, some pet hair, and also just a little bit of cereal to see how it does under these kind of difficult circumstances. All right, let's see how it did. Zero tangle brush roll. And just like the other Narwal products with the zero tangle brush roll, this seems to do a really good job. All ended up in here. But how good is actual pickup performance on carpet? We're gonna test it by dumping 20 grams of sand on the carpet, and then we're gonna measure before and after to see how much it picked up. See, in our carpet pickup test, it picked up a huge amount of dirt we laid down on the carpet. Stuff I didn't even know was there. All right, how much did it pick up? That looks like 100%. Excellent score. We're gonna check out mopping performance in a second, but I wanna show you something that I think is really cool. If you got baseboards, and who doesn't, you get these optional fluffy things which are baseboard cleaning modules, and they just click right into here. And so while we're doing our mopping test, hopefully it's gonna be cleaning the baseboard. I'm gonna dump a little bit of soy sauce right over here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna see how dirty the mop pads get, and then how clean the base station can make the mop pads after it's done. Let's see how dirty the mop pads are. All right, that's how dirty they are now. Let's let it do its cleaning. Just finished cleaning, let's take a look. That's pretty good. They were pretty dirty. I haven't touched it at all. I think that's pretty effective. So you can see it correctly identified the liquid spill and made a special effort to go clean it, and I think it's gonna go back. So the sensor on the base station detected that the mop pads were not clean, and so it is going in. It's gonna do another pass, as many as it needs to clean up this area. You can see it working in the app right here. The Freo Z Ultra uses both RGB cameras and its AI to identify the different types of dirt and then figure out a cleaning strategy to deal with each one. I'm gonna put some dry mess here, and then I'm gonna put some wet mess here, and we're gonna watch the robot figure out what to do and how to clean each type of mess. So with the serial, you can see that it goes to vacuum mode only. So the mops lift, and it's gonna use all 12,000 kilopascals, which is the maximum suction that it has. The side brushes are working, and it slows down to deal with the mess better. But let's see what happens when it finds the spill. So it switches to mop only mode. The side brushes stop, the main brush roll lifts, and then the mops go down, and they start mopping. And it reduces the chances for cross-contamination because it is cleaning the dry stuff first, then it's going over and doing the wet, and kind of separating those two tasks. Going back to the base station. Right now you can see it's cleaning the mop pads. You can hear it in the background, washing the mop pads with hot water. It's pretty quiet, it's not too loud. Let's take a look at those mop pads. After all that soy sauce, you can see these mop pads actually look amazingly clean. I think it's gonna go back and finish. Let's see what it does. Okay, it's doing another round of mopping. Okay, you can see it's washing the mop pads, and it says down there on the bottom right that it is 20% done with this whole project. And now it looks like it's just gonna clean up the rest of the space. You can see after it's done cleaning, you've got the dry waste on this side, and it's actually dry. That's because its adaptive cleaning strategy knows when it's dealing with a combined wet and dry mess. By keeping the mess dry, that's going to reduce bacteria and odors. We need to talk about the base station. Let's start with the basics. It's a Narwal, so I think it actually looks pretty good. It has a more simple, clean aesthetic. Doesn't look quite so industrial like some of the competitors. In the top, you've got clean water tank and a dirty water tank. This cover comes off. This is the self-emptying robot, and this bag is 2.5 liters. That means it can hold as much as 120 days of dirt, and that's because it uses dust compression technology. It also has a special floor cleaner, comes out here, and before it starts mopping, it actually sterilizes the water by electrolyzing it. You can see it working when this light comes on, and it has adaptive mop washing and drying. There's a sensor in here that identifies the kind of mess that you've got. So it'll change the water temperature to clean it from anywhere from 113 degrees to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the mess. After it's washed the mop pads, it dries them. So it starts out at 167 degrees Fahrenheit. That's to kill any bacteria. Then it goes down to 104 degrees and completes the drying cycle. And the idea is to optimize the temperature to help clean the mop pads the best. It's also got a display on top, so you can send it home, you can lock it, you can start and stop it, and then you can send it out on doing a mop run or a cleaning run. The whole concept is that this base station and the robot itself are very low maintenance, so you don't really need to do a lot other than add clean water and empty out the dirty water tank every now and then. A lot of vacuums get really loud when they are emptying their waste into the base station. Measured at about 6 feet, the Narwal, on the other hand, basically sits at 71 dB with just a tiny spike up to 74. It is noticeably quieter than a lot of other robot vacuums. And he likes it too. The app offers a lot of customization, and you can actually see what the robot is doing in real time. Right now, it is over there and it is mopping. I set it to go back and forth. You can see a couple different views of your room. Right now it's in 2D, I can switch it to 3D. You can edit the maps, you can give it names, you can set up no-go zones. You can adjust the Freo mode, which is sort of the AI portion of it, to tell it how often you want it to mop. Smart mode, my cat loves it, edge mode, always, etc. It has many different options for vacuum and mop, vacuum then mop, vacuum, or mop only. And within each of these, you can have it use Freo mode, which is going to automatically determine the best cleaning strategy, or you can set it up yourself. So you can say what the suction power is going to be, how much water you want to use, standard or meticulous cleaning, and even how many times it's going to go over and mop. Or like I said before, just let it decide on its own. You can access the camera in this. You got to use a password. So you can check in on your pets if you want, but by default, video is not enabled. You need to explicitly enable it, and also the ability to take photographs of different objects in your house so it can identify them. That is also turned off. So you need to explicitly turn these things on. So by default, personal data and any data it captures in your home are stored locally on the robot, and they're not uploaded to the cloud. If you don't turn them on, no big deal. The robot is still going to work perfectly fine. The Narwal Freo Z Ultra is probably the smartest robot I've tested. And because of that, I think that makes it one of the top mopping robots. Narwal absolutely brought their A game to this party, and this is a flagship robot. If there's any applicable discounts or discount codes, they're going to be down below, and there's another great mopping robot video right over here.